G'day everyone, DARQs here. I just wanted to thank everyone for the overwhelming amount of positive feedback about the last video I made. It seems that this new style of presentation works quite well, and I'll try and feed your criticism into videos that I do in the future. For now, I'm going to stick to the style and hope that you guys will stay entertained enough to hear me rant through another lengthy 2DX discussion. So the topic for today focuses around your average 2DX session. A session basically refers to a point in time where you pick up the game and play for a certain duration. Given the nature of the game, there are many different types of sessions to be had. You could be at home on your own grinding out free mode or CS or with premium free, or have to share an arcade machine with 5 other people. Regardless of this, I'll try and cover in depth the ideal strategies and approaches which can be used to further optimize your 2DX time and get the most out of your sessions. So the question that I posted at the end of the last video is whether an 8-hour session in one day is as beneficial as a bunch of 2-hour sessions across a 4-day period. To answer this, I wanted to draw upon personal experience when I was in Japan. When I first started working, I was quite busy and didn't have a lot of free time. For this reason, I'd usually go to the arcade alone sometime midweek and grind out maybe 5 to 6 hours of 2DX. Now of course, I did keep progressing and moving forward with the game, but speaking with people like DJ Phoenix and Krellian, they always believed that I could be doing better. Around the release of Sparta, I started getting more involved with the game and began meeting other players within my region such as JDR and Nozomi. When this happened, I started playing more regularly and going 2 or 3 nights a week as opposed to limiting myself to one big day. Interestingly, I wouldn't play nearly as long, resulting in shorter sessions because I'd usually go later at night, whereas in the past I'd go during the day, as I'd have a day off. Another reason was because I had work the next day, and the people who were there were usually nice enough to drive me home from the arcade earlier than if I'd made my way home alone. However, because of this change, my 2DX sessions started shaping into a more consistent weekly routine instead of one big 2DX session on my day off. So let's compare the two kinds of sessions I was having and see where the bulk of my progress was made. It should come as no surprise that when I started going at more regular intervals and playing for shorter periods of time, that my consistency and scores shot way up within a few months, which was amazing when you compare this to almost a year-long period of being playing on my own. Now why was this the case? As I touched on in my video about consistency, spreading out the sessions over a longer period helps retain the muscle memory which I've been building up over each session. Using this method instead of powering through it all in one day basically gave me intervals where I could step back from the game for a little bit and reflect on how to approach it again for the following day. Another advantage which manifested without my knowing was it allowed me to jump into my sessions a lot quicker, and it took me progressively less time to warm up and get into more challenging songs. When DJ Phoenix came to Japan, he couldn't believe that I was jumping into level 12s within the first round of me playing, and was also surprised to see that I could score pretty close to my best within that time frame. The other reason why I was performing better overall once again comes down to how my time was spent. What many people don't realise is once you're pushing the level 10 plus area progression within singles, the game starts to become quite physically taxing. In the 5-hour sessions I had on my days off, I'd usually start to get tired around the 2 or 3 hour mark, and my scores would start showing a rather significant decrease. Because of this, I'd have to sit out or take a break for a while just to get myself back in the same mindset. But even after these short breaks, I saw a significant drop in performance for the remainder of the session. Other high-end American players such as DJ Phoenix and Krellian have noticed this as well, saying that long sustained periods of play usually result in quite a bit of fatigue and an overall loss in performance. By pure chance, when I was limiting myself to roughly 2-hour sessions spread across a number of days, I was actually ensuring that I was always playing at my optimal performance each session over that 2-hour duration, and not succumbing to fatigue like the big 5 to 6 hour sessions. Coming back to when DJ Phoenix visited Japan, I wanted to touch on the main argument I have against long sessions. Within a 3-day period, we went around exploring arcades most of the day, and I'd say that we'd both played for over 30 hours within that time frame. Both of us pretty much completely fried our ability to play because we completely exerted ourselves trying out all the cabinets of Tokyo. It really goes without saying that too much of anything is a bad thing, and this very much applies to 2DX as well. The last thing you want to do is play to a point of getting burnt out mentally or causing physical injuries to yourself. This is the main reason why I push this concept of using your time better with shorter and more precise sessions. Now, a lot of people have asked me in the past about the content of my sessions and how I usually get warmed up for one. It should be noted that my methods are really focused on people who can do level 12s, but by following the same rules and looking at them relative to your own level, this should give you an idea on the best way to get warmed up into a position where you can start playing at your best. A general rule of thumb is to start a session with a song which is quite easy and straightforward to familiarise yourself with the timing window again. The best way to approach this is by using 8th note charts, for example Love is Orange or Element of Sparta. Songs with primarily 12th notes work well too, such as Bridal Festival or Grid Night. From there, you want to find songs with mostly 8th notes with the occasional burst of 16th so that you can experience short streams and get your hands familiar with them. For this I usually use songs like No Crime or Tsubasa from Empress, or maybe something like Shining World from Chikoro if I wanted to practice some roles. From there it's usually a matter of playing some constant 16th stream songs to keep that momentum going. Most LED charts such as Nebula Grasper serve this purpose quite well. So what you want to do is gradually work up the intensity of the charts until you're feeling confident hitting those denser patterns again. Another method which I think works very well is to pay close attention to your progression of the chart's BPMs. What I mean by this is instead of just working up through the difficulties, also keeping in mind how you're working up through the BPM of songs, for example going from 130 BPM to 150, 150 to 170, and eventually 170 to 190 plus. This can be just as beneficial to warming up for your sessions as simply looking at the level of difficulty of each song you play. Regardless of which of these techniques you use, just make sure that you're doing something to adequately prepare yourself for a session as opposed to going out guns blazing on the hardest difficulty that you can manage. Ease yourself into it like you would if you were getting into a hot bath or a swimming pool, because it'll make the experience much more worthwhile and allow you to better utilise that precious time you have to play. Now of course, bringing this full circle, the speed in which you can warm up directly correlates to how frequently you play. As I said in my last video, I've hopefully shown you from my own experience as regular play is very important. Even if you slot in just a little bit of 2DX in a day, it will be extremely beneficial to your overall consistency. That being said, make sure you keep in mind that this is just a game. It's not a commitment like a job, and it's not something you have to do for fear of death or anything. If you aren't able to keep to a routine or accidentally miss a day, it's no big deal. Just make sure that you keep at it, and remember the bottom line is you're doing this for fun. Because if you stop having fun, then maybe it's time for a break, or a timeout, which I've discussed in a previous video. At the end of the day, just ensure that the time that you spend playing the game gives you the most satisfaction and contributes to what you want to achieve. Once again, if I had to make a horrible 2DX pun for this, a 2DX session should never end in sorrows. So that's it for this 2DX discussion video, and thank you very much for watching. If you want to hear my insight on taking breaks, I've linked to the previous discussion video in the description below. Next week we'll be discussing something a little bit more bizarre. Key taps. When you play, how hard do you normally hit the keys? Let me know in the comments section below and we'll discuss it in the next video. But for now, that's all for this video. Once again, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next 2DX discussion video. Bye bye for now.